Hey folks, Larry Osmond here with your Oakville market update for February 2023. So we are exactly 1 year off from where the market hit the peak back in 2022. End of February, beginning of March 2022, that's when we hit the pinnacle of the real estate market in Oakville, or Canada for that matter. But speaking of Oakville, that's where we hit the peak of the market. And everything from there now all the way down to where we are today has been a slow decline. So, all things considered, being the peak a year ago to where we are today, we are sitting at 14.6% below as an average in Oakville from where we were a year ago. A year ago, we were at 1.793 million. This year, we're at 1.532 million. So, you're talking a differential of about $260,000 in average value of a home in Oakville. Now, if you look at detached homes, they are averaging, a year ago they were at about 2.37 million and 1.934 this million. So this year. So you're talking there closer to about $430,000 on a detached home is the differential. Semi-detached homes are only off by about 160, and when we look at townhomes, freeholds are off by about 180,000. Condominium townhomes are off by about 240,000. But the big news is, condominium apartments in Oakville are actually up, and this has been the story for a lot of the year. They're actually up about $260,000 from where we were a year ago. Now, I want you to take into account that we've had a lot more condo inventory come on the market in the last year. If you think about the development across the north part of Oakville, the Taunton buildings, things like that, they've all come online now since, so we're starting to see a lot of resales come into those. And these units are selling at higher price per square foot than what we've traditionally seen in the older buildings in Oakville. So not only have we seen an increase in price, we've seen an increase in inventory of units available for sale, but we've had an overall increase of condo units in general in Oakville. So take that into consideration. And the fact that condos have come up from where they were in previous years in value per square foot. Overall sales have been down about 45% year over year. We're up 50% from where we were last month. So if you think back to where we were in December, come into January, now into February, we're back into that growth, month over month growth. But again, year over year, we're still down by almost 50% from where we were a year ago. As I mentioned in my last update, average days on the market, always a controversial subject for me. But if you notice in my January numbers, I started changing the days on market to since the property was originally listed, as opposed to listing it based on what the current price is. So, or current days on the market. And if you don't know the difference there, current days on the market is from the last time it listed. So if it was canceled, expired, and then relisted, that starts to clock over again. And because that kind of skews the numbers, I've actually gone back now and started punching in from the original date when the property listed until it sells, so you really know how long it takes to sell a home in Oakville. The other thing that I've started doing is I've started putting in the original list price. So I may have started at $2 million, dropped to 1.9, dropped to 1.8, dropped to 1.7, and then sold for 155. Rather than say listed at 1.7 and sold for 155, I showed it was originally listed at $2 million. You'll see on the address there'll be asterisks. Those asterisks represent the number of times they've had a price decrease, and then you'll show the sell price. So you'll see the differential from the 2 million to the 1.5 instead of 1.7 to 1.5. That's just to give you some more clarity on how long it's taking homes to sell and what they're going through, and how much more important it is to know where you should be pricing your home when you go to sell it and what it takes. You'll see the days on the market is longer, and it usually correlates to those price reductions and the strategy you take when you go to the market. So keep an eye on that stuff as well. A year ago, we were still selling above list prices on average. A year ago, we were 112% of list is what our average sell price was. And we're at 94.8 right now. So you can see those overbiddings and things like that are not happening like they did a year ago. So big differential there as well. Really important you drill down and you look at what's going on in your neighborhoods, what's going on in your communities, and the types of homes that are selling. Because again, not every neighborhood's built the same, and nor does it have the same inventory of homes that are selling. So it's important to drill in there, find out what's going on in your neighborhood. Some neighborhoods are really struggling. We're seeing a big differential between list price and sell price, and even the days on the market, versus other neighborhoods are still performing pretty good. So you want to go in and have a look at that and see what's happening. That's where you'll see the actual details of every home that's selling, and that'll keep you up to date what's happening in your neighborhood. Good stuff to know. So overall, I think A couple of different things, I think. I think Wednesday with the Bank of Canada review coming up again, a lot of economists are saying that the Bank of Canada is going to hold. They're not going to increase this time because that was the message they gave out in January. A little piece of me still thinks we're going to go up another quarter point and then they're going to hit the pause button. It's either way, it's going to either be 0 or it's going to be a quarter point, I believe. And if it's 0, I think it'll send signals to buyers and they'll start to become more active. If it goes up a quarter point, maybe we'll just push, we'll continue to kick that delayed can down the road another 30 or 60 days till people start to pick up. Either way, we're starting to see inventory levels come back up. Now, talking about inventory levels, right now Oakville's averaging about 270 homes on the market at any given time. That is historically about half of what we usually run. We usually run between 550 and 600 homes on the market at any given time. But from a year ago, we were sitting at 79 homes on the market any given day of the month. So when you consider that, we're up 3.5 to 4 times what we were a year ago, but we're still half of what we were historically. So inventory levels still have a ways to go. I feel that we still have a lot of sellers that are sitting on the sidelines because they're looking at where the peak of the market was and saying, no, we've lost equity, we want to wait. The fact of the matter is it could take us years to get back to those numbers, and the homes that people are looking to buy, well, they've come down in price too. So any buyers and sellers out there that I've been helping so far this year, they've benefited from making a move this time of year versus waiting to see what's going to happen. Because what's going to happen is those lower price homes will come up a lot faster than the higher price homes. And no different than right now, the lower price homes are still selling. They haven't dropped as much as the larger homes. So if you're buying a home in a $3-4 million price range, absolutely there's some big deals out there. And there's absolutely, if you're a seller, there's been some movement on what you're going to get for your home and the amount of activity you're going to see. Whereas if you're selling a home for $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.4 million, we're starting to see things pick up there. Now, we have had some multiple offer situations come up again. I won't say Oakville's had a lot of it, but I've certainly seen it in Burlington, in Hamilton, Ancaster's had it. We've even seen it in Toronto and the east end of the city. So there are some of those scenarios happening, but the big difference is we're not seeing people buy homes for $100, $150, $200 plus $1,000 over asking. You'll see multiple offers and the home will still sell maybe $10,000 over asking as opposed to $100,000 over asking. But we're still seeing conditions. We're still seeing, even with multiple offers, finance and home inspection conditions have crept back in now as a mainstay again on offers. So there has definitely been a shift in that activity in the market. Even when things kind of subside a little bit from the pressure of interest rate increases, I think you're still going to see buyers be a lot more cautious than they were the last time around. When we came through the pandemic, we had a lot of people that made moves because they wanted to get into the suburbs and things like that. The amount of competitiveness to buy homes was astounding. And I don't think we're going to get back to that kind of battleground again. I don't think we're going to see people wanting to make those big, bold moves, putting in hundreds of thousands over asking. Because quite frankly, there's a lot of people that bought homes in 21, early 22, and even in late 22 that, they're upside down right now because the valuations dropped on their homes. They probably bought on a variable mortgage, and they've been dealing with a 4.25% interest rate hike since the peak, since the Bank of Canada kicked in rate increases a year ago. So you had a lot of pressure on those people out there today to keep up. So I don't think we're going to see that same mentality. I think people will be a little more reserved, a little more cautious about what they do. And that's why I think prices going up is going to be a much gradual, slower increase than what we've experienced. Right now, what we can hope for more than anything is to stop the decline and hopefully kind of hit our new flat line and then eventually start to come back up is what we can hope for. So overall, I think Oakville's real estate market's healthy right now. I think if you are thinking about selling, I think we're going to have a very robust spring market. I think you can see a lot more inventory come on because there are a lot of people that have been sitting on the sidelines. So be prepared for that. And it's going to come down if we continue to have the situations we have today. People are going to be looking at the best features and benefits on a home. So it's going to be cost versus value proposition is what you're going to be looking at. So I'm not saying run out to renovate your home. A lot of people know I'm not a big advocate of that, renovating your home to sell it. But if there are small things you can do between now and when you do plan to sell, like paint, extensive cleaning, decluttering is huge. You need to make sure you declutter your home, things like that. But don't run out and put in a new bathroom or a new kitchen and expect to one for one back on that investment. It's just not going to happen. So, but overall, like I said, Oakville's got a very healthy market right now. Let's go down that road. And we're seeing at least some stabilization come back in there. So looking back over a year or so, I think we're in a fairly good spot now. The biggest thing becomes the fact that we had such a robust market going through 21 and the beginning of 22 that a lot of people kind of think that's the new norm, when it's absolutely not the norm. We're actually more into a normal market now, except for we're a little light on inventory. So that light on inventory means it's good for sellers to get out there and start to sell. It's also good for buyers in the sense that a lot of buyers haven't come off the sidelines. And I just hope it doesn't happen to be a mad rush of everybody jumping in at once. So any case, that's my update on the market. Please make sure you click on the link, go in and have a look and see what's going on in your area, in your neighborhood. If you have any questions at all, or if there's anything in the world I can do for you, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you out. And otherwise, I hope you find the information valuable. And until our next conversation, all the best and talk soon.